Hello and welcome. You're watching BTTV. This is Market Today. I'm Tanya, Aneja, and with me is Shail, Bhatnagar, our markets editor. Well, extending its positive momentum, the Indian market ended on a positive note on Tuesday. But what should be your strategy going forward? Well, we'll discuss this and much more. But first up, the top headlines for you. Indian markets are likely to gather further strength across the board as traders and investors ramp up relatively undervalued stocks. Major indices show signs of buying at lower levels as blue chips turn attractive after the recent correction. PSU stocks remain the superstars of this rally as traders get attracted to deep undervaluation of these companies relative to their private sector peers. State-owned metals, railway, defense and banks hog the limelight. Extreme caution is advised. Very good morning, Shail. It's a fresh Wednesday morning and the benchmark indices ended higher for the third straight session on Tuesday. Among the sectors, media and reality were the outperformers, while mid and small cap indices extended their streak of outperformance. So where do you see Nifty now and what should be the strategy according to you?
Good morning, Tanya, and good morning to all our viewers who are glued with us, enjoying this fabulous rally unfolding on Dalal Street. Tanya, as you rightly mentioned, it was media and realty yesterday, and mid caps and small caps have been partying like there's no tomorrow over the last entire month of August, as also September. But the good news is that bulls have finally rediscovered their mojo when it comes to the Nifty and the Bank Nifty as well. As you can see on the daily chart, it's the third day of the rally as far as Tuesday was concerned. So we rose from a low of 17,230 of Friday to about we rose from a low of 19,230 on Friday to something like 19,600 yesterday. So three successive days of gains as far as the Nifty is concerned. I'm sure you will see the daily chart of the Nifty in a short while from now, as also the intraday chart, 5-minute chart that the PCR has prepared for you. And in that you will see that for the last three sessions the Nifty is ending at its day's high, and that shows that bulls have regained their momentum on the index, and now possibly things are looking much better for the index when it comes to September. So it's T-1 as far as the Nifty is concerned, and tomorrow is the weekly expiry for 7th of September. Let us see how the short covering happens. You've seen intense shorts being covered in the ITM call network as far as the Nifty is concerned, and that is the fresh momentum that you see. This is the daily chart. You can see that the 50 DMA has been adequately tested all through the month of August, and over the last three trading sessions the Nifty has regained its mojo on the long side, and that's the how should I say, probably the beginning of a better party, Tanya, on the index. September should see Nifty climbing higher and higher, and let's hope for the best and see how it is. You'll also see an intraday chart of the Nifty, which is the 5-minute candle that I prepared for you, and that's how the index is. You'll see that it might dip during the day, but it ends higher and higher as the dip closes. That's the pent-up demand. And what's really interesting, Tanya, is that when you look at the options picture, you'll see how the range has now moved up. Very strong support now coming in at 19,500 for bulls as far as call writing is concerned, and very serious resistance at 19,700, but we'll live with it. Tanya.
Absolutely. Let's hope for the best, and it's a wait and watch situation right now. But let's now come to Bank Nifty Shell, and Bank Nifty witnessed a day of consolidation, and it consolidated within a narrow range of 250 points. So, what are you looking on Bank Nifty today?
Tanya, I would imagine that traders are interested more on Nifty, mainly because FMCG and software are really helping the index out in terms of Hindustan Unilever, ITC ticking higher, in terms of TCS and Infosys providing very decent support, as also the fact that some banks have sort of consolidated towards the higher ends, chiefly ICICI Bank and Axis Bank. But there is no major trend that I can make out in the Bank Nifty. I'm sure that will follow suit maybe in a week or so, or maybe 2 or 3 sessions after the Nifty's control 19600, 19650 with it. So there isn't a major trend discernible on the Bank Nifty, but the fact is that Nifty is now looking up pretty well, and that's, I think, where we should concentrate our energies on, Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. Let's focus on Nifty then, and Shail, let's discuss FNO space action as well, because a lot is happening when it comes to FNO space. So, what are you looking at in the FNO space today?
Tanya, there's a series of stocks apart from the ones that we've been seeing in the railway, PSU, metals, as well as banking baskets that have shown very strong momentum. Let's start with the alphabet A, and I'd like the PCR to show the daily chart of Aditya Birla Fashion Retail. You'll see very, very strong traction coming in. Over the last 6 months, the stock has been in a sideways mode, and a strong breakout has happened yesterday with a 5.1% rise in price at about 232, and this is accompanied by a very, very decent uptick when it comes to the open interest, 7.7% higher. As you can see, this is a breakout chart that ABRFL has seen. About a 6-month kind of a breakout that's happened on price as well as volume, and the delivery statistics are super good. Let me give you that number. You bulls are actually drawing a lot of comfort from that. So delivery is up 2x on Tuesday compared with Wednesday. So ABRLF at 232, which falls in the middle of the textile rally that we are seeing, is one of the stocks that looks good on the long side. Of course, this is all based on technical data that is easily available for everybody to check. Canfin Homes, one of the real stock market darlings over the last maybe 3 or 4 years. If you see the chart of Canfin Homes, you will see a very nice swing trade in the making, and that's how it is. The data as far as Canfin Homes is concerned is fairly strong, 2.1% up in price at 788, and we've seen open interest rise dramatically, Tanya, something like 19%, and a strong delivery statistics when it comes to a 1.2x rise in delivery. If the screen is in front of us, no, I would request you to show the screen that I had sent you on data. You will be able to make out how a swing trade is in the works, a flat sideways move over the last 2 weeks, and a breakout that happened in trade yesterday. Yes, this is how it is, and you'll see a 4 or 5 week high coming on Canfin Homes over yesterday's price move, and that's how it is as far as Canfin Homes futures are concerned. This looks it'll reclaim its previous high. The third stock, Tanya, that I want to talk about is Biocon, and again the pharma index is in a brutal rally on the uptick, and you have seen very, very strong traction coming in Biocon, 2.2% higher at 268. Remember, these price tickets are low ticket but high beta stocks, all three of them, ABRLFL, Canfin Homes, as well as Biocon, and about a 7.2% rise in open interest. This is the beginning of the expiry in September. So these three futures, Tanya, should be sort of analyzed not only for educational purposes, but you should consult your financial advisor before taking a long or a short position. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. So this was the FNO data for you, but let's talk about global markets as well, Shail. Wall Street ended on a tepid note yesterday. The Dow finished close to 200 points lower, while the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, they also slipped 0.4 and 0.1% respectively. Part of the downward pressure came from oil prices, which gained after Saudi Arabia and Russia extended their voluntary supply cuts. And if you see the Brent crude futures, they crossed $91 per barrel mark, and crossing that $91 level for the very first time. So when it comes to the global markets, Shail, what should we watch out for?
Tanya, you just hit it on the head. Crude oil. I think that's a bit negative for the broader market, considering the fact that we've seen an uptick happening in crude oil prices from like $77 per barrel in the last week of August to what it is now, 90, 85, 86. These are not good sentiment indicators for the broader rally in Indian stocks. So it needs to be kept an eye on. Any negative data on inflation, you'll see the markets turn again on the reverse mode. So crude oil is all that I watch, and that's not painting a pretty picture as far as sentiment is concerned. I'd also like to inject a note of caution as far as mid caps and small caps are concerned in the railway, in the PSU, in the banking, in the metal space. Tanya, a lot of caution needs to be exhibited as far as markets are concerned in this particular space, because it's a feeling of missing out which is rampant on Dalal Street, and these are the times when you make the mistake which you shouldn't, which is to chase momentum when momentum is super high. Unless you're a professional trader, you should at this point of time inject extreme caution in your stock picking, because everything looks super overheated. It's only the blue chips which have corrected in the month of August, which look relatively attractive compared with the mid caps and small caps. But even in blue chips, valuations, Tanya, are in the upper quartile towards let's not just say overvaluation, but there's a lot of froth in the market, Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. And Shail, let's talk about some of the sectors also. The sectors which you are bullish on. It was Pharma Day yesterday, and metals, and of course the real estate pack. But what about today? Any sectors that you are looking out for?
Tanya, it's the Goldilocks rally that's happening across the board. Sectors that take a pause for 1 or 2 days start rallying the third day. What can I say? I mean, again, it's where momentum is, which is PSU banks. It's again where momentum is PSU metal stocks. It's again where momentum is railway and defense. I would imagine till the G20 finishes in the middle of September, somewhere like September 15th, Tanya, it's going to be the rally of a lifetime when it comes to the PSU basket. Again, I'm injecting a note of caution. You have to be super careful. Look at the ETF of PSU banking shares. It's called Nifty PSU Banking Bees. Look at the ETF of CPSE index on the Nifty. That's the Central Public Sector Enterprises Index. That's a better way to get into this rally rather than punting on individual stocks. Tanya, I cannot emphasize the note of caution that needs to be injected in your trades. Should you not be a professional trader, please stick to ETFs or mutual funds. Tanya.
Okay, stick to ETF and mutual funds. This is the advice that is coming in. But what about the entire QSR space, Shail? I mean, look at the stocks like Sapphire, Jubilant, and Devyani International. They were all on fire yesterday. So what are your thoughts there?
Tanya, Indians love to eat and love to spend on food. And like I said, Tanya, it's a game of relative valuation. See, what happens is that when the front line starts to rise, then you look at stocks which have not participated in the rally. So it's like saying that there is a relay race happening in a huge ground, and everybody passes on the baton to the next runner. So when you see Bhikaji, when you see Devyani, when you see Jubilant Food, it's just that they have not participated in the month of August or July or June, relative to defense, relative to steel, relative to PSU banks. And once those stocks that have rallied very sharply hit resistances on the charts or are met with selling pressure, the market turns its focus on these relatively undervalued stocks compared with defense, compared with metals, and then the rally there starts. It's sector rotation, money flow, and how should I say, extreme enthusiasm in the market, where different sectors in different points of time rally to catch up with their peers who've already shot up. Look at the defense space, Mazgaon, Garden Reach Shipbuilders, Cochin Shipbuilders. There's a 3-4x return. That means 300, 400% the stocks have risen over the last 18 months. It's, how should I say, unheard of when it comes to these kind of moves. That's why I inject the point of caution and the fact that other stocks will now look up because these have run up so sharply. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely got that, Shail. And our market expert, Mr. Gaurang Shah, is now with us. He's the Senior VP at Geojit Financial Services. Mr. Shah, very good morning and always good to have you on our show. And let's begin with your market outlook only. I mean, it's a tug of war that is happening between bulls and bears. But what's really next for the Indian markets, and how are you approaching markets at this point in time?
Thank you, Tanya, and morning to all of you. So we had put out our view for the week and for immediate short to medium term on Monday. And our outlook on markets on Monday was that if markets are decisively taking out 19,500, 19,600, and if we get a close above 19,600 on the Nifty spot, then I think the rally towards the all-time high and a possibility of high cannot be ruled out. We are also of an opinion that sectorially, though my good friend Shail was mentioning about defense stocks, railway, our view is that defense, railway, and power generation, transmission, and cement is likely to do extraordinarily well. And the kind of outperformance that we've seen from the defense pack, I think that will continue. But relative outperformance in a shorter or a medium term compared to what the defense sector took, I think you should possibly have railways and railway stocks and power generation, power transmission performing equally well. So what we had advised our clients was that in a phased out manner, slowly, step by step, start building your positions from current level, and then you get a correction, you can add on to it from a long-term point of view. Even cement, our sense is that with the talks of price hike per bag, and of course the consumption picking up with monsoon at the fag end of its season, I think construction activity should again fire up at all cylinders. Consumption of cement is likely to do well, so cement sector equally will do well. So these are the four sectors that we've been recommending over the medium to long term.
Good morning, Gaurang, and it's always a pleasure to have you on our show on Business Today Television. Welcome. What a pleasant day to be in the markets, given the fact that Nifty's regained its mojo. But where do you find, relative value stocks that can be added for a medium term, say 1-2 year kind of a time frame when it comes to portfolio building in this kind of a fantastic market? Gaurang.
Well, morning to you as well, Shail. So our sense is that two stock investment ideas. In fact, we had a coverage on these two stocks over a long period of time. But as the earnings improve, Shell, I think it's only prudent uh, on the fundamental analyst to revisit the targets. And if the earnings have delivered better than what the analyst has anticipated, then naturally you increase the target. So two, I mean, reinforced buy call, if you will, is Voltas Limited. That's the consumer durable
Yes.
white good appliance company, not only present in India, but has got significant presence in the Middle East as well. And our sense is that with the spendable part of your income going high, especially in the semi-urban and rural India, we have revisited these targets on the high side on Voltas India. So Voltas is the first one. Second one is with the theme that I just mentioned in my opening remarks. That is, power generation and railways. KEC International is the stock, though this stock has given you a fantastic return, I think almost 100%. I think in April this year, it was somewhere close to about 400, 450 Shell, correct me if I'm wrong. And then we saw levels of almost 960, that 699. That was the high, if I'm not wrong, on KC International. But the order book is extremely good from all the four verticals that they are present in. And more importantly, Shell, for a fundamental analyst to me, I think it's more important to see the execution run rate of that order book. Mere order books don't generate revenues. Execution of that order book generates revenue. So KC International is one of them. It's closely connected with Indian Railways also, doing considerable amount of job for Indian Railways, and along with that, they are present in different other verticals, including power. So KC International is the other one.
Right. Let's analyze both these stocks on the screen, and shortly we'll be joined by Milind Vasudev also. He pours into charts as well as technicals, and his picks also be shared. Voltas first, if the PCR can show the daily chart. It's a wonderful pick, Gaurang. We've seen it a high of about 1300 somewhere in November of 2021, and around 800, 856 now, given the fact that this relative margin of safety is there as far as the stock price is concerned at a time when the broader markets are showing extreme how should I say, bullish stance. Here is Voltas available substantially below its all-time high, and the fact that it's a blue chip stock, a Tata brand, and has been a multi-bagger over the many years that Gaurang has tracked the stock. So that's Voltas for you. We'll just spend a minute on the pre-open trades and then get Milind into the conversation. For the moment, you've seen about 0.5% downtick on the Nifty. Let's see how it sort of gathers steam over a period of time. I don't think so this kind of a downtick is necessary. Nevertheless, let's look at index heavyweights on how they are opening. At the moment, it's a 1% cut on Reliance, 2400 for you. HDFC Bank is flat at 1572. Infosys is 0.7% lower, 1468. And you have Axis Bank flat at 980. ICICI Bank down 2.7% at 941. These are the initial trades as far as the market is concerned. Nifty down 84, it's improving. And let's see what the PSU basket is doing, and then we'll touch base with Milind Vasudev. Okay. Another 10% circuit on MMTC. Remember, these were two circuits yesterday and day before of 20% each, and the sector and the circuit limit is now revised downward to 10%. Brutal demand for PSU stocks. Let's see whether it moves on or not. ABRFL 2.5% higher, 236.50. And let's look at what's happening as far as the FNO losers are concerned. I want to see where do you see profit booking happening. Okay, it's Adani Enterprises, ICICI Bank, and Dr. Reddy's, of course, Reliance. Okay, we'll let the Nifty settle. It's now down just 24 at about 19,550. Milin, welcome to Business Today Television and Market Today. Good to have you on this wonderful day. What are the two stocks or three stocks or one stock that you're looking on the charts which might outperform today?
Shail, good morning. See, there is a lot of price activity going on in mid cap and small cap counters. And if you see, Nifty 500 is clearly outperforming Nifty 50. So the picks are first by Bikaji, currently trading at 512 levels with a stop loss of 492. You could get the targets of 552, 572. These are for 2 or 3 days. The second stock is Century Textile. Yesterday, again, we saw a good buying in the latter half of the session, currently trading at 1114. Keep a stop loss of 1074 and a target of 1190 and 1220. The third stock which I am going to recommend is HG Infra, currently trading at 986 levels. Keep a stop loss of 946 and the target would be 1060 and 1100 in couple of days' time.
Morning, Milin sir. Tanya this side from Business Today, and I want to understand from you, the important levels that we should watch out for, and where's the market headed, and what do the technical charts now suggest for the Indian markets?
See, coming to Nifty, now Nifty is clearly trading well above the short-term moving averages. Now, even if you see the 50-day moving average is at 19,463. And to be very frank, that 50-day moving average line is rising. It is not falling or it has not become flatter. So that is a very important level. That is 19,400 level is very crucial. You should not get close below 19,400 level. But looking at the current price action, we are of the opinion that we are likely to head towards 19,000, say 700, 19,800 levels in couple of days' time.
Okay, absolutely, got that. And Milin sir, I want to ask you about the mid cap and small cap pack as well. I mean, we have seen a stellar rally when it comes to broader markets. The Nifty mid cap 100 index, it crossed 40,000 level yesterday, and small cap also a few days back hit all-time high. So, what are your thoughts when it comes to broader markets? Because many experts are now saying that the rally that we have seen, it is overheated. The broader markets, they are overheated at this point in time. But what are your thoughts? And any picks that you like, especially at these levels?
Clearly, if you see both Nifty, NSE small cap index as well as mid cap index, though it is trading on a higher levels, and even there it is far slightly away from the short term moving averages line, but it doesn't mean it has not given any sign of weakness. So at present, I would not say that one should really start intensifying its adding stocks in his portfolio in mid cap and small cap. I don't think so. One should be very cautious at this level.
Okay. Milin, I'd like to draw your attention to a pick that Gaurang has highlighted, and it's Voltas. Would you like to comment on its chart setup? We've seen it correct fairly sharply from an all-time high of about 1300 to a zone of about 800, 850. What are the charts telling you?
See a classical rounding formation in the weekly chart, and now it is making a higher top, higher bottom formation. Now currently for last 3 days it is correcting, and these are the buying levels that one should enter at current levels or on a decline up to say somewhere around 840. Keep a stop loss of 830. On the higher side, you could expect the levels of say somewhere around 880, 900 to an outer extent of 920 levels.
Okay, Mr. Shah, what about you? I mean, we were talking about this mid cap and small cap space. What are your thoughts when it comes to, broader markets? I mean, do you think the space is overheated, and any picks that you still like, especially at these levels?
Sector specific in the mid cap, especially in the small cap. And the worry is that large part of our retail investors are stuck in the small cap universe. And it is important for the small cap index to perform. But credibility should be given to those small cap names, Tanya, where earnings also deliver. Unfortunately, large part of the small cap universe earnings are far behind, and the prices run up to a great extent. Then suddenly, self realization sinks in, and you see a sell off in the small cap universe. And whenever it's history, Tanya, that whenever markets correct, I think the first knock that comes on is on the small cap, then it followed by mid cap, and then of course the large cap. So my advice to all your viewers or investors would be that stick to certain known names. Don't go and venture out. Don't be a Robin Hood into the market. And buying anything and everything in the small cap universe is not going to give you 10, 15, 20% return within the short to medium term. You can possibly end up burning your finger and having an unpleasant experience over there. So you need to be extremely careful as far as the small cap universe is concerned. In the mid cap, I would be again specific in terms of mid cap IT, mid cap banking, mid cap NBFCs, mid cap auto ancillary, mid cap cement, mid cap FMCG names, uh, and mid cap possibly metals. My sense is that we could see some relative performance over there. But a word of cautious. Yes, it's good to see the rally in the mid and small universe, but a word of cautious.
Absolutely, it's time to become, cautious. Got that, Mr. Shah. But Mr. Vasudhya, coming to you, talking about one of the stocks from the mid-cap space only, IRFC. The stock has zoomed over 56% in the last 7 trading sessions. So, what do the technical charts suggest for IRFC?
Clearly, the railway stocks have gone up, and currently it is overextended, and I would not recommend buying at current levels. But yes, you can, if you are holding this stock, then you can trail the stop loss to somewhere around 65. On the higher side, the initial resistance for this stock is somewhere around 76. Once that level is being crossed, then you could expect a move towards 80 to 82 levels. But at present, fresh buying is not recommended.
Right. Let's again look at the pre-open trade where prices have now settled. Nifty is trying to open flat at about 19,581. Of course, there is a blowout rally happening in the PSU as well as the railway theme. Let me just share with you prices of low ticket, high beta stocks. MMTC 5.4% higher. Remember, yesterday was a 20% circuit. Day before that, it was a 20% circuit at 66.45 in front of you. IRFC, the one that Tanya pointed out, 1.7% higher, 73. Remember, these are pre-open trades that have settled. Punjab and Sindh Bank 2% higher, 40. Oil India 1.5% higher, 284. Let's look at the defense theme. If there is a major change that has come in as far as prices are concerned. Zentech, this is Zen Technologies, the drone maker, 1% higher, 844. Remember, I'm just talking about super high beta, which is really ticking fairly sharply. CDSL, 1% higher, 1236. I'd like to see within the rail pack, let's look at Kernex Systems, 4.5% higher, 497. And how about let's look at the FNO gainers, because a smart action coming in that side. The top pick in FNO is Voltas, up 2.7%. at 890. Remember, it's a fundamental call that Gaurang has given, and Milleen has stamped on it as far as technicals are concerned. Aditya Birla Fashion Retail 1.3% higher, 234. Strong traction coming in at Vedant 245, 1.5% higher. And let's look at the Nifty, which are the top gainers. Tanya, the energy rally continues. ONGC is the top gainer, 1% higher, 184.90. Power Grid 0.9% higher, 256. So with these, we'll wait for the markets to open over the next 3-4 minutes, but good time to bring in Gaurang. Gaurang, any view that you would have on the defense pack? It's extremely overheated on the charts. What looks good on the medium term? Where would you bet your money?
Well, it's the entire universe, Shail, to be very honest, whether it is government-owned companies or private defense-oriented plays. Just look at the order book that the management has been speaking about, and the order book looks quite strong for the next 3 to 5 years. And as we go ahead, I think defense, FDI being opened up, Make in India, Made in India, and if I'm not mistaken, there were 3 lists which were issued by the Ministry of Defense as far as prohibition of imports for the defense is concerned, the equipments and ancillaries, etc. My understanding and inputs are that in the future there are going to be many more such prohibited lists that will come out, which will enable more such defense-related equipments and items being made in India. And we have the capability and capacity in place. So you have BHEL, BEL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Bharat Dynamics Limited, Mazgaon Docks, Cochin Shipyard amongst the government names. L&T, Bharat Forge are the 2 names that I can think about. Even Astra Micro, as a matter of fact, enabling high-tech communication equipments for the armed forces. These are some of the private names. But let me say this, Shell. I think if you're looking at investing in defense-related theme, you should have at least 3 to 5 years kind of time horizon. And the reason why I'm saying this kind of a longish time horizon, because it takes time to get a prototype ready of a particular equipment that you have won in terms of tenders. Then getting it approved through defense forces and other respective authorities in terms of their credibility, and then the mass scale production. So you need, and this takes a lot of time because these are high precision, high technique oriented equipments. It takes that kind of a time for mass scale production. So just have this kind of, and I'm sure if you do that, I think you will be laughing your way to the bank.
Everybody and his mother is laughing his way to the bank as far as the rally in the market is concerned. But for today, markets are open. Flat on the Nifty, 19,574. Nifty Bank, 51 points lower, 44,491. Nifty IT in the green, and that's looking good as far as the indices are concerned. Let's drill down. Let's look at the index heavyweights first. Reliance flat at 24.27, but it's better than what it was in the pre-open. Infosys again flat, 1478, down about 0.1%. What is HDFC Bank doing? It's 1577, 0.14% higher. How about ICICI Bank? 0.25% lower, 966. Axis Bank mildly in the green, 981. This is how the index heavyweight sector is concerned. Let's just shift focus clearly to the PSU pack. MMTC, third day of smart rally, 6% higher, 66.75. NBCC taking it away, 6% higher, 63.35. Remember, these are very, very high beta counters. IRFC 69.80. This is down about 4%. That's not a problem. NHPC and ONGC in the green. Let's touch base with Milleen immediately. Milleen, anything that catches your fancy on the charts?
See, just if you see, CDSL is one stock which I'm liking. If you see CDSL yesterday has shown a good price and volume behavior. After a nearly 6 weeks of consolidation and a rounding base formation, it has now showing some kind of a buying activity over here. So one can enter at current levels, keep a stop loss of 30 rupees on the higher side. Yes, you could head towards, say, somewhere around 1260, 1280 levels.
Okay, so the first pick of today's trade is CDSL. Coming back to you, Milene, a quick view on Canfin Homes. The data was fantastic as of yesterday when it came to technicals, and the stock roaring away when it comes to price now. 787. Would you have a view on Canfin Homes?
See, for last 7 to 8 trading session, Canfin Homes is trading flat, and it is not giving any clear direction of the trend. But yes, currently it is up by 0.51%. And if an aggressive trader wants to enter over here, can keep a stop loss of, say, somewhere around 760. On the higher side, yes, you could this counter could test the levels of, say, somewhere around 800, 820 in couple of days' time.
Okay, and also what about RVNL, Mr. Vasudeo? Because RVNL, this stock has delivered multi-bagger returns and the stock has been on a roll, but what do the technical charts now suggest for this particular counter?
Clearly on the daily chart, if you see RVNL on 4th of September had a gap up opening, and this gap was unfilled. The gap area is in the range of 142 on the lower side, and 130 to 142, 139 to 142 is the gap area. So now last 2 days it is correcting with lesser volumes. That shows that yes, there is potential that at lower levels it is likely to reverse. One can accumulate at current level, keep a stop loss of, say, somewhere around 130, 135 levels. On the higher side, yes, it could move towards, say, 165, 176 to an outer extent of 180 levels.
Okay, sir. And a quick check on Voltas as well, the top gainer from the FNO space.
See, clearly Voltas, today we saw a gap up opening and now some kind of slight profit booking is being seen, but still I'm very positive on this stock, and it is likely to head towards 920 levels in couple of days' time.
Okay, absolutely, and I should, congratulate Mr. Shah for, this amazing pick, Voltas. It's up, we should pull up that stock for you, Voltas, and it's up around 2.5% as we speak. 888 is the level. So congratulations, Mr. Shah, for this wonderful pick. And, what's really next for this particular stock?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question. Tanya, would you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. So I was saying that, talking about Voltas only, what a wonderful pick, and congratulations. The stock is actually trading 2% higher as we speak. 888 is the level on this particular counter. So what's really next?
So, these are, fundamental picks, Tanya. I don't think you should possibly be looking at 20, 30 rupees on a stock of 880 rupees. My basic funda as far as investment ideas is concerned is that you should at least get 20-25% return on your investment. And that's what the actual cream is. These kind of small triggers are good to see, but more on the fundamental side, I think if you have, best time is by your side, Tanya. I don't think you should be in hurry to sell out quality stocks at peanut gains. I think there is a lot more that is there in this particular stock. And as my good friend Milin was mentioning, and Shail was mentioning, that possibly this has seen the worst on the downside, and you are possibly, preparing for a much, much elevated level from here on. So, you should look at 1,000 plus levels. At least that is what I would look at. That would mean a new 52-week high.
So Gaurang, let me just help Tanya here. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one small step, and that was a 2% uptick today. So not only is it a fundamentally strong counter, as you have so rightly explained, but Miline's view that you should see 950 fairly soon is also appreciated. This is what makes the market so exciting, which is to pick up a fundamental stock on the balance sheet at a time when it's in pain, and reap returns not only in the short term but also in the long term. Let's look at the Nifty again. Now 10 points lower, 19,567. Remember, we've seen 3 days of gains. So the index is consolidating at current levels, mildly sideways from a low of about 19,230 to 19,600. It's been a one-sided rally and a bit of a pause here before the weekly expiry of tomorrow. But there is absolutely no panic when it comes to the broader NSE basket of 500 shares. Very, very strong moves coming in. Let's see TVS Motors. Let me highlight sectoral gains that are happening. TVS Motors 0.5% higher, 1467. Remember, this is a stock which has been consolidating near record highs. We've discussed of course Voltas, but let's pay attention to the pharma pack and getting in Miline here. Miline Cipla for you, 1255. Very strong tailwind in form of a minority stake which is on the block, and whether it's PE funds, whether it is larger or smaller rivals, are all after it. What are the charts telling you? 1255, a decent uptick in open interest and about 1% higher on FNO.
Shail, if you see Cipla for last 17 trading session is trading flat in the range of say somewhere around 1271 to on the lower side 1223 levels. For nearly 17 trading session it is trading in that range. Now at present for today there is a strong resistance at somewhere around say 1266. If that level is being crossed, then yes, you could expect the higher levels of say 1280, 1290. So one can initiate a long hold at current levels also, keep a stop loss of 1230 and expect a price towards say 1300 levels.
Okay, absolutely. And just for the benefit of our viewers, Shail, I would like to mention this, that Bain Capital could be looking, to team up with Dr. Reddy's to acquire Cipla, according to some media reports. And earlier reports had suggested that Cipla's promoters are looking to exit the business, and contenders in the race include Blackstone, barring PE, and Torrent Pharma. Mr. Shah, I want to come to you for this. How do you look at this development for Cipla, and what are your thoughts here?
Well, Tanya, so first let me give a disclosure. We have a coverage on Cipla, Torrent Pharma, which was the first one in the race, along with, I think, BlackRock, if I'm not mistaken. Then you had the second, contender coming in with Bain Capital, that is Dr. Reddy's. We don't know what is going to be the valuation. At least it is not known to me. Till the time this race is there, I think the stock will be in spotlight for the good reasons, that is Cipla. Torrent Pharma and Dr. Reddy's would be under pressure because I think market will be contemplating whether the valuation that they want to give is justified or not, how much of stress it might put on the balance sheet, etc., etc. So, and similar reaction, in fact, when the news came out of Torrent Pharma and I think BlackRock, teaming up together to buy that promoter stake from Cipla, Torrent Pharma corrected. Yesterday we had this news, so I think this Dr. Reddy's is corrected. But not looking at immediate short to medium term, I think the stocks will follow the news flows rather than any credible fundamentals. Because in terms of valuation, unless we have clarity on that, I think it will be very difficult for me to comment. But we have a positive coverage on all the three stocks.
Okay, absolutely got that. And also one of our viewers, Brajendra Shivhare, he wants to know about UCO Bank. So, Mr. Vasudeva, I want to come to you for UCO Bank. What do the technical charts suggest for this particular counter?
See, for last 3 days, it is continuously rallying. It took a support at around, say, somewhere around 29 levels. And for 3 days, we have seen this stock going up. And yesterday, we had a gap up opening in this counter. So clearly, good support at around, say, somewhere around 30, 32, 31 levels. He can keep a stop loss of, say, somewhere around 30, and on the higher side, initial resistance is at somewhere around 36 levels. Once that level is being crossed, you could expect this stock to test the levels of 38 and 42.
Okay, by the way, UCO is the third top gainer from the PSU Bank Index if we look at the past week performance. And what about you, Mr. Shah, when it comes to UCO Bank? What are your thoughts there?
Tanya, this is what exactly, the problem with some smaller public sector bank is that out of 4 quarters in a year, you suddenly have one quarter which will, mesmerize you as if there is nothing wrong with the balance sheet. And then the quarters to follow will be equally disappointing. What I'm trying to say is that there is no consistency in terms of earnings delivery for small public sector banks. I think there is still a lot that needs to be done in terms of improving the health of the balance sheet. And I think the sooner the management gets their act right in terms of going out and collecting all those loans which have been, possibly put in a cold storage and have become gross net NPAs, and the banks have provided for it, which by puts pressure on the profitable margins. I think they should wake up and possibly see the bright side and put their efforts in recovering all those loans. Unless and until that happens, Tanya, I think you might just see one-off blips in smaller public sector banks. If I had to venture out in the PSU universe in the banking, then we would be positive on PNB, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, and State Bank of India. I think these would be the four names that I would restrict myself.
Okay, absolutely. And if you see the all-time high for the UCO Bank, it was 150 rupees. So significant correction, happening there. So let's pull up some of the stocks, which are at their which are at their 52-week high. Let's pull up NBCC, MMTC, IDBI, and Mr. Vasudeva. If we talk about MMTC only, this stock is on a roll, and we should pull up MMTC for our viewers and see the price action happening there. So it's okay, 7% uptick there on MMTC. 67 is the level. What should be the right buy zone when it comes to MMTC, Milind sir, and what do the technical charts now suggest for this particular counter?
See, if you see MMTC for current week, it has gone up by 53% nearly. And now, if you want to buy this stock, yes, it has to correct nearly, say, somewhere around say 55 or 50 levels. That are the right buying zone. But at current level, the risk reward ratio would not be in your favor. On the higher side, this stock can test the levels of 70 and 72 in couple of days time. But at present, I would not recommend to buy at current levels. Wait for a decline up to, say, somewhere around 55 or 50 levels. Then only you can enter it.
Okay, markets are overheated on the PSU side, and fantastic advice coming in from Milind that just stay away. There is no point entering at this point of time because the risk to reward ratio is not in favor of an entry at current levels. A lot of frontline stocks are also in the green today. It's the first 15 minutes of trade that have passed fairly calmly. Remember, we are on T-1 as far as Nifty is concerned, and flat as it can be, 7 points lower, 19,567. Nothing much happening on Bank Nifty either. 78 points lower, 44446. Remember, we've seen a very sharp rally over the last 3 trading sessions, and today is the day to consolidate those gains and sort of take a pause, take a breath, reevaluate the rally, and then move a bit forward. Milind, coming to you, a lot of market chatter and market anticipation is inbuilt into Life Corporation of India, LIC. What are the charts telling you? In front of me is the price at about 671, days high here, and this kind of price you had seen earlier in January of 2023. So it's an 8-month high, 9-month high on the stock. What is LIC telling you?
See, currently LIC, if you see, it is one can buy at current levels, and you can expect actually a move of say 7 to 8% from current levels. One can buy this stock on a decline, but not at current levels. But yes, higher levels of say nearly 7 to 8% rise can be seen in this stock.
Okay, so it's not a buy at the moment technically on the charts because it looks overheated. Let's get Gaurang's view into LIC. Gaurang, a lot of bad blood has actually flown on the Lal Street when it comes to discussing LIC. It was at terms still below its IPO price. Any long-term view you would have on this counter?
Well, so I'll first of all like to give a disclosure, Shail. The IPO stalled. We had given a subscribe for long term for the LIC IPO. Thereby, we've seen the underperformance, not only towards LIC, but also likes of SBI Life, HDFC Life, and ICICI Prudential Life. When you compare, performance of the Sensex Nifty or some other sectors, and you compare it with the life insurance companies. So there has been relative underperformance, and that underperformance may possibly be there for some time. But as you have the new premium run rate going up, and of course in the budget, the Honorable Finance Minister made an announcement which actually scared a lot of investors into the insurance sector. But our stand was that India has a huge population. Lower single digit is the number of people who have taken life insurance, a meaningful, not to save tax share. And I think that realization is sinking in, that you have to buy an insurance product, and that to a term insurance, with the view that if something has to happen to you, then your family members can depend on something, and that's sum assured has to be relatively justified, not a small sum. So if you take a larger sum assured, you have to pay larger premiums for it, and thereby the income for insurance companies will improve. Now, this entire process will take a while, and the companies are also undertaking ensuring the uninsured kind of educative programs towards individuals. So this is an interesting sector. We have a buy call on all these names that I have mentioned.
Okay, absolutely, and let's pull up KEC International as well. It was Mr. Shah's, second topic, and the stock is actually trading 2% higher as we speak. So bang on, Mr. Shah, when it comes to KEC International as well. And Mr. Vasudev, let's take a quick technical check also. What do the technical charts now suggest for KEC International?
Clearly, KEC International is making a high top, higher bottom formation on the daily chart, and now on the weekly chart, we are seeing some kind of a rounding base pattern forming. So one can enter at current levels, keep a stop loss of say somewhere around 650. On the higher side, yes, this counter has got potential to test the levels of 700 to 720.
Let's bring the chart of Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. It's TMB as we see it. Remember, this was a bank that was recently listed, and it came under some issues with the powers that are. There seems to be a regulatory raid that happened some time ago, but none of the weakness that was seen maybe 5-6 months ago is now visible on the charts. A breakout here. Milleen, would you want to get into Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank at these levels? What are the charts telling you? And then we'll check with Gaurang on the fundamentals that TMB has.
See, on the 21st August, this stock had gone up sharply higher and with larger volumes. And then the next day, it started correcting. It made a high of, say, 574, and then it dropped down to the levels of 516. And today, clearly, it has taken out that bear candle high, and it is trading well above it. So, keeping us just a stop loss of somewhere around say 20 rupees at 560 or 570 levels, 60 levels, you can keep a stop loss. On the higher side, this stock can test the levels of 600 to 620 levels in couple of days time.
So you could chase momentum here as far as TMB is concerned. I'll just so the listing day price was somewhere like 490, 487, and the stock then corrected because of its problems to 401. This was in the month of April, and from there till today it's at 587. Before we bid you goodbye, Gaurang, any view that you would have fundamentally when it comes to TMB, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank?
Problem with certain banks is the kind of presence and branch network. Relatively low for this one. And that's where the concern is in terms of earnings and growth. Of course, the performance is there. Unfortunately, I can't make any specific buy, sell, or hold tips or recommendations on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank because we don't have a coverage. But I would be better off buying into, if I have to just look at my, growth aspirations and view, then my sense is that private sector banks like maybe a Kotak Bank or an ICICI Axis, even IndusInd Bank would do relatively better. Even as a matter of fact, if I have to put my money on Federal Bank, IDFC First Bank, I would be more comfortable over the share.
Fair point, Gaurang, and thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. And the two picks that you shared were Voltas and KEC International. Remember, these are both portfolio picks meant to be kept for a longer term, at least a year in your portfolio. And as luck would have it, both of them also performed fairly strongly when it came to today's performance. Market taking it away. Nifty now again moving back to its earlier levels as far as the first resistance was concerned. 19,600 coming on you in front of you, as the reason being Reliance Industries now at 2436, and there seems to be the first resistance that has been taken out when it comes to the Nifty. Let's look at the market watch and see which are the top gainers as far as the index heavyweights are concerned. It's led by Reliance, about 0.5% higher, 2435. HDFC Bank 0.6% higher, 1585. ICICI Bank and Kotak Bank are also contributing to this mild uptick, and that's because they've moved up from their intraday lows that have been seen. Apart from that, Hindustan Unilever and TCS are mildly in the green, 3437 and 2516 respectively, and in the red are still Bajaj Finance, 7322, down 0.3%. Tanya, this is what I could see. What are you watching?
I think Shail, Geo Financial, we should also talk about that. That is a stock, it's stock of the town. and the stock will exit Nifty 50 and other indices of the NSE from tomorrow. So, Mr. Vasudev, I want to come to you for this Geo Financial stock. What do the technical charts suggest for this particular counter?
So if you see the data is very less to comment on technically, but whatever data is available, currently it made a high of say 266 levels, and from there it is correcting, and now it has got good support at 232 levels. Now, if that level is, if it finds a support near 232 and reverse from there, then one can look into this counter. But at present, I would say just be at the sideline.
Okay, absolutely. And Shell, sugar stocks are also in focus, you know. There are some reports that UP government is expected to increase the state advisory price for sugarcane, and we'll be talking to the management of Sri Renuka also, Sri Renuka Sugars in a bit. But what about you, Mr. Vasudev? I mean, any stocks that you like from Sugar Pack, and any stocks that are on your radar?
See, currently, if you see, there is some activity in EID Peri. So EID Peri, no doubt it is trading at below the 200-day moving average line. But again, there is a good base formation which is going in this stock, and I expect that this stock can reach the levels of say 530 to 540 levels. One can keep a stop loss of somewhere around 480 in this stock.
Right. Tanya, because of issues where people frown upon eating sugar in any form, whether it's in a cup of tea or in a nice pastry, sugar has decided to participate on the market side. कि भाई आप लोग नहीं खा रहे, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम आगे तेज़ी से नहीं बढ़ेंगे. Sugar futures are actually at 11 years high in the international market in London. We'll be discussing a lot more on the sugar cycle in a while, but this is also the right time to look at stocks that have hit all-time highs, mainly because you see a lot of momentum creeping back into the markets. These are well-known stocks. Let's start with TVS Motors, 1477, up at 1.4% today, and this level is fairly blue sky territory as far as the auto stocks are concerned. Remember, a lot of enthusiasm has been injected into the auto sector after Maruti said that it would spend 45,000 crore rupees in doubling its capacity of passenger cars over the next 8 years. Apart from TVS Motors, you see Bharat Forge, 1095, a bit of profit booking here, but a record high on the counter. In terms of the realty pack, as Tanya mentioned right at the beginning of our conversation, it's Oberoi Realty, the Mumbai-based luxury flats developer, 1153, 0.5% higher, and the Bangalore realty company Brigade Enterprises, 644.45, 2.1% higher. These are the themes that are working brilliantly well as far as the markets are concerned. 9:45 in front of us. The first half an hour of trade has happened, and Nifty is now consolidating at its intraday high of 19,600. Remember, 19,600 is a major resistance technically as well as on the options chain as far as Nifty is concerned. Paper stocks taking it away. JK paper for you, Milene, or any other paper stock which you find might outperform the broader market.
Well, you have rightly spotted JK paper. Now, if you see, JK paper has started trading above the 200-day moving average line currently, and is showing strength going forward. The 200-day moving average is somewhere around 371. So one can keep a stop loss of 371 and enter at current levels. Currently having resistance at 890, 390 levels. Once that level is being crossed with good volumes, then you could expect this stock to test the levels of 420 to 425 in couple of days' time.
Okay. With this wonderful pick that Milene has described as far as the paper sector is concerned, thank you, Mr. Vasudev, for joining us. And it was a pleasure catching up with you in Mumbai last week. Let's hope we do this sooner.
Very good
what a wonderful day to be in markets. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Before we welcome Mr. Atul Chaturvedi, who's the Executive Chairman of Sri Renuka Sugars, for a chat on the sugar industry, Tanya, what is on your radar? What are you watching?
I think, Shail, I was looking at some of the sugar stocks only, but if you look at some of the top gainers and top losers as well, there are some stocks like Cipla, which we discussed as well. It is the top gainer as we speak, and Bharti Airtel also. It is also among the top gainers. And if you look on the flip side, if you look at some of the losers, metal stocks, some of the metal counters like Hindalco, this is one particular stock that is not supporting the markets as we speak, and Tata Steel also among the top losers, and NTPC Nifty and Bank are also in the top losers list. But let's welcome, let's focus on the sugar industry only, sugar space only, and now let's welcome our guest on the show today. We have with us the management of Sri Renuka Sugars. We have with us Atul Chaturvedi, who is the Executive Chairman at Sri Renuka Sugars. Thank you so much, Mr. Chaturvedi, for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television. You know, we were talking about this recent announcement only that UP government is expected to increase the state advisory price for sugarcane. So I want to know it from you, Mr. Chaturvedi, that how do you look at this announcement, and what kind of an impact can we expect going forward when it comes to sugar industry and when it comes to your company as well?
As a matter of fact, we've also been hearing that this announcement is going to come, but it has still not come. And if it comes, I'm sure the sugar values will definitely go up. So government is definitely going to be a little more cagey about tinkering with the SAP at this point of time. But we are also aware that next year, or rather towards the end of this year, we have elections also. So as an industry, we were looking at an increase of about 150 rupees a quintal. But as per media reports, it seems it's going to be something like 25 rupees or 250 rupees a ton. So that is definitely going to be bullish as far as sugar in the country is concerned. So some increase was on the cards because last year UP did not increase the SAP. But if UP does, I'm sure Karnataka and Maharashtra would also start looking at this much more seriously than what they've been looking at till now. And so overall, this is bullish sugar.
Right. Mr. Chaturvedi, welcome to Business Today Television. It's a pleasure to host you, sir. Let's talk about the broader industry. So there are three major trends which are buffeting your sugar space. One, the recent lack of rainfall that we saw over the last 2 or 3 months in chief sugar growing areas. The fact that inflation has reared its head as far as food prices are concerned. And three, we are facing elections in 4 major states and of course the national election. How is the industry production and data concerned as far as these three broad trends are being noted in the markets?
So in India, the major sugar producing states are UP, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. So UP seems to be quite all right. The rains have been definitely quite okay. The troublesome areas could be Karnataka and Maharashtra. But as far as Maharashtra and Karnataka is concerned, August was a disaster. There was hardly any rain. But what I'm seeing today is that rain event seems to be happening, and things seem to be in a much better position as far as rains is concerned going forward. So if the rains happen, then the loss may actually get curtailed. But whatever has happened may have happened. So as a matter of fact, overall, on a countrywide basis, what we are looking at is the production could definitely be much lower than what it was last year. But having said that, there is absolutely no issue whatsoever this year in terms of the stock availability. This year, exports is practically out of the window because I don't think the government is going to allow exports, even though the industry would definitely want the exports to happen because the delta is huge. Internationally, sugar available is about at 65 rupees a kilo, and Indian values are still hanging around 37, 38 rupees. But having said that, this will definitely have an impact on the domestic values. Though sugar as a sector is highly regulated,
Right.
but some upward movement cannot be controlled. Because if the world is selling at 65 rupees, some spillover effect is bound to happen in India. But having said that, I think the government will have to seriously look at increasing the ethanol values, or else next year you could possibly see ethanol production actually coming down from the sugar sector.
Right. In front of you, Mr. Chaturvedi, we've brought a monthly chart of sugar futures trading in London, and they've shown one of the highest levels as far as the past decade is concerned. Globally, the commodity is in short supply, and that's prompting higher and higher prices, something that governments don't like across the board when it comes to commodities that are used on a regular basis. What would you estimate the production value as far as the Indian sugar cycle is concerned? How many million tons this year compared with the previous year?
Now, let me analyze for you the global scenario. Brazil has had a very good crop. In fact, some account say that the crop, the cane could be closer to about 620 million tons in Brazil. And also their production this year could be in excess of 40 million tons. And their exports could actually be much higher than 32 million tons. So overall, Brazil has compensated to a certain extent. But last year, India exported about 6.3 million tons to the world market. So it would be difficult for Brazil to fill in this gap of 6.3 million tons. And the other problem internationally is that Thailand also seems to be suffering the same way as India. Thailand last year was close to about 11 million tons, and this year now there is talk that the Thai production could plummet to about 7 million tons. So overall, all these are bullish factors, and this is getting reflected in London now above 740 levels. So overall, the world is definitely on the bullish side. And what is also happening is, till now, Brazil was diverting more and more cane juice towards sugar. But with the Brent also, crude oil also looking up, so they might start diverting a lot more to ethanol. Ethanol values will possibly also go up in Brazil. So that might also squeeze a little bit of sugar for the world market. So overall, world looks definitely friendly. And today also, we heard the Albion company saying that sugar could be in short supply in the next couple of years. So that is fair enough. And sugar as a sector should start looking better than what it has been till now.
Okay,
And
absolutely.
as far as Indian values are concerned, in terms of sugar, we cannot put a finger on what the numbers would be, but definitely it's going to be lower than what it was last year. And the carry out also may be lower than what it was last year. That's for sure.
Okay, absolutely got that, Mr. Chaturvedi, and we'll discuss about exports ban also in a bit. But firstly, I want to talk to you about the fresh ethanol capacity that is coming online in FY24, and where is this capacity coming in from geographically?
No, I think the new ethanol capacity, as far as India is concerned, is very much already factored in. I think new capacity will only come in if the sector, the ethanol is going to be incentivized much more than what it has been till now. As far as Renuka is concerned, we have expanded our capacities in Karnataka at our 3 mills. And now, from the level of about 720 KLPD, kiloliters per day, we are now at about 1250 kiloliters per day. But having said that, now in future, if the sugar values are going to be higher, then obviously ethanol could become a bit of a casualty. And the government's plan of having 20% ethanol blending by 2025 could come in for some hiccup if they do not seriously raise the ethanol values by about 4 to 5 rupees a liter.
Okay, absolutely. And lastly, Mr. Chaturvedi, before we let you go, just your thoughts on exports ban, because India is expected to ban mills from exporting sugar in the next season beginning October. So, how do you look at this, news and your thoughts here?
As a company, we would definitely want exports to happen. But as a consumer, I would probably go with the government, because as far as India is concerned, the Indian consumer comes first. And the way we've seen the government being proactive on the efforts towards controlling inflation, banning rice exports, banning wheat exports, and so export, I don't think is a priority of the government at this point of time. And more so with the inflation, with elections around the corner. So I think no political party or no person in decision-making chair would want inflation to become a serious subject, and more so food inflation.
Okay, absolutely got that. And on that note, thank you so much, Mr. Chaturvedi, for taking the time out and being with us here on Business Today Television.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. And now let's get back to the markets, Shail, and see how the markets are doing. So clearly, bears are also not really ready to give up, Shail. It's a tug of war that we just mentioned in the beginning of our show only. But the good news is that 19,500, that is the mark, still intact on Nifty. 19,568 is the level where we are at, and 65,731 on Sensex, Shail.
Absolutely, Tanya, and a couple of stocks that I'd like to mark, the ones that we had discussed. Look at Voltas, it's just taking it away, while Gaurang may have brushed aside this wonderful pick that he's given us in terms of the daily movements. He's looking for a 25% uptick over the next 1 year. But for today, Voltas is of course one of the top gainers. Yes, it's the top gainer on the FNO pack, 896 in front of you, 3% higher. That's how it is. Let's also look at LIC of India. We discussed this in trade today with Milleen, as also with Gaurang. This is also trading at its day's high. The last time I checked the price, it was 676. Today's low was 660. So a nice uptick happening here. And I'm also seeing a lot of block deals happening on LIC, Tanya. The latest is for 55,000 shares that you see coming in at a value of about 3.5 crore rupees on LIC alone. Apart from that, other public sector PSU insurance plays are also showing a good traction, which is GIC Ray Reinsurance. This stock is also ticking up merrily, and National Insurance Corporation of India as well, NIACL. So that's the wrap that we have here, Tanya. Bolters heading towards 900 fairly soon.
Absolutely. So that was the market wrap for you from Shail, and of course it's time for me and my team now to wrap up this show. Thank you so much, Shail, as always, for sharing excellent data with us. So it's time for me and my team to wrap up now, but you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to stay tuned to Business Today televisions for all the latest updates, all the latest market updates. So stay tuned, and many thanks for watching.
A grand glittering view of the G20 summit venue in New Delhi.